Hello YouTube and welcome back into another Dare to Game video. Today we're playing Valheim and we're bringing you top 4 swords. So this is going to be the 4 best swords in the game, all ranked by their damage and various stats. But damage is really what it comes down to, because as a weapon, we want a weapon that can deal a lot of damage. So with that in mind, we're going to start off at number 4, which is the bronze sword. Very nice looking weapon, look at it. Very classical, ancient era looking sword. Pretty short, comes to a sharp taper at the end, but still a very thick blade. So, I like how it looks, but let's see how it performs. As far as stats, well, first of all, the description says Blood Drinker, a thirsty friend. So I call this sword Blood Drinker when I talk to people in the game. I say, yes, I will draw Blood Drinker. Yeah. I think that's a cool name. It's nifty that they give it to it. The thing about swords in this game is they are going to be basically the best weapons for the most part, at least single-handed weapons, because that's all they are. They swing nice and fast, they don't take as much stamina, they're pretty dang durable, and they do a lot of damage. And so it obviously makes sense that if you're going specifically for a weapon, a sword is going to be your choice. So in any case, the bronze sword is the 4th best sword in the game. It has, when upgraded to level 4, which all of these weapons on this list will be to keep them consistent, it has a slash damage of 53, block power of 10, knockback of 40, and a durability of 350. So as you can see already from the start, the durability is nice and high. So is the damage. Considering this is only bronze, doing 53 damage for slash is pretty dang good. You pair this with a shield, you obviously got a lot of protection, because unfortunately the sword doesn't have great block power. But what are you going to do? It still has 40 knockback, which is enough to keep your opponents at arm's reach. To get bronze, because if you want to make the sword, you're going to need bronze as a technology, you need to defeat the first monster, which is the Eikthyr. It's this big electric deer that will be very close to wherever you spawn in. And basically to summon it, you'll need 2 deer trophies, and once you have them, you put them on the altar. Make sure you've got a shield to fight the Eikthyr, because you need to block his attacks. But once you've killed it, you'll get an antler, and then you can make a pickaxe. Once you've got a pickaxe, you can mine tin and copper from the Black Forest biome in the game and smelt yourself some bronze. Once you've smelted yourself some bronze, you can make everything that's bronze, including the bronze sword. So that's how you get the 4th best sword in the game, the bronze sword. Let's test it out in combat. Here we have one of the first enemies you'll encounter in the game, a wild boar. Obviously, one slash with a sword is a great way to take out a boar. Look, a grayling. Also a 1 slash weapon, and you get to see the knockback in action because that one really flew. And what do we have here? Some Grey Dwarfs? Look at that. Blood Drinker sure knows how to take out an opponent. And again, like I said, that's only the 4th best sword. So if you like that, buckle up and let's move on to number 3. Alright, and so moving on to number 3, the 3rd best sword in the game, we have the Iron Sword. And look at that, we're automatically moving up to a Dark Age style sword, which is obviously made out of iron, as the name would suggest, and is significantly longer than the bronze sword. So I actually like that they put the details into the game that the material type also advances the sword as far as the time period that it would have come from. So that's interesting. But as far as stats for this sword go, at level 4, the Iron Sword has a max slash damage of 73, making it 20 points higher than the Bronze Sword, maintains a block power of 10 and a knockback of 40, and a durability of 350. So this sword is much more higher damage, and like I said, gives you better reach and everything. But as far as the other stats, the durability, block, and knockback go, it has the same aspects as most swords, or at least so far, the Bronze Sword. So, that is the Iron Sword. If you want to know how to make iron, as I've said in other videos, you need to, after you kill the first boss, you'll be directed to the second boss, which is the Elder of the Forest. And for that one, you're going to need some ancient seeds. And for ancient seeds, you get those by destroying Grey Dwarf nests, which can be found in the Black Forest biomes. But once you have 2 or 3 of those, I'm pretty sure it's 3, but I can never remember, you need to take them to the altar of the Elder. You sacrifice those, and you have to kill the Elder. Once you've killed the Elder, he drops a swamp key, and that swamp key can be used to enter swamp catacombs, and which are these locked underground dungeons and swamps. Once you have the ability to go into those, you just bring your pickaxe in there and you can mine these ooze blobs that will be blocking each passageway. And in return, you will receive iron scrap, which can be smelted into iron ingots. And once you've done that, you'll unlock the ability to craft all iron gear. And one of the things you'll unlock will be the sword. So if you want to make the 3rd best sword iron, that's how you do it. So let's test this bad boy out in combat. What do we have here? A Draugr? I think we can manage it. I was slashing before I was within range. Classic cocky iron swordsman. You may not have seen it, but I killed a leech there in the water. Killed 2 of them in the water now. Skeleton? I accidentally unequipped my weapons. That Draugr thought it had me, but it did not. Same for that blob. But there we go. As you can see, the iron sword's a pretty dang good weapon. Like I said, advancement over the bronze sword in both reach and damage. So definitely a good weapon. That's number 3. Let's move on to number 2. Alright, so at number 2 we have the black metal sword, which as you can see is actually green. So I always get a kick out of how they call it black metal. It actually looks green. And shape-wise and style-wise, this one I would say looks most like a, I don't know, 14th or 15th century falchion. So the one-sided, kind of more choppy looking sword that was very common in the late Middle Ages. So, very interesting design, and this one's obviously made out of black metal. So, it says, a thing of death and beauty. It catches the light with a greenish glow. Cool description and pretty accurate. And so, before we get into stats, let's talk about materials. So, black metal is going to be, it's kind of the same thing as iron. You're going to need to get black metal scraps and smelt them down. So far, the only way I found to get black metal scraps is to kill fullings, which are these little green orc-looking creatures that can be found in plains biomes. If you want to see a plains biome, see what it looks like, these tan-ish areas are plains biomes. The bigger it is, the more likely it is to have encampments of these fullings. And obviously, if you can find encampments, you're going to be able to kill a bunch of them. Look, there's a whole bunch over here, a great big one over here. So as soon as you find one of those, you just kill the fullings. Most of them will drop black metal scrap, and you'll be able to smelt it down into black metal bars. And once you've done that, you're going to be able to make black metal gear. So that's how you can make the sword. As far as stats go, it has a slash damage of 113, making it 40 points higher damage than the iron sword. The block and the knockback and the durability remain their 10, 40, and 350 stats, respectively. So as far as that goes, it doesn't get better as a sword for more block, more knockback, or more durability, but it does a lot more damage. So definitely still a super good weapon. Let's go test this one out in combat. We're going to test this off on one of my least favorite creatures to fight, the Lox, or as I like to call him, the damage sponge. These things can take more damage than a troll. Look at that. Not to mention they deal out a lot of damage. Yikes! We're already down to 44 health. That's not great. It's hard to do the hit and run style attacks that is kind of essential with these. And you can really only hit once. And which sucks because with swords, the most damage you do is in those follow-up attacks. The first strike will do decent damage, but then the second strike does significantly more damage. Considering how that Lox wrecked us, why don't I show you some fullings? See, there's a fulling. These are also a dangerous enemy, mind you. They may not look very dangerous, but they do a decent amount of damage. And their small stature makes them slightly harder to hit in some cases, so if you want to take them out as an archer, it's actually not as easy as it may look. But that is the black metal sword, which as I said is the second best sword in the game. So let's move on to the ultimate best sword in the game. Alright, and for the number 1 best sword in the game, we have the silver sword, which, as far as appearances go, now this one is a typical high Middle Ages arming sword. So we're looking at 12th, 13th century. This looks pretty typical for that. Obviously, it wouldn't really be made out of silver. It would be made out of steel. Personally, my favorite looking one in the game as well. Just looks very, very cool. This one's description is purest of metals, nothing unclean can abide its touch. And as far as materials go to make the sword, you're going to need silver, which, you know, obviously that makes sense considering it's a silver sword. And silver is unlocked after killing the 3rd boss, which is the bone mass boss. Once you've killed that boss, you'll be able to, you'll pick up a wishbone from his corpse, and you'll be able to use that to detect rare metal veins, and that includes silver. So, once you have that, you'll be able to mine yourself some silver, craft yourself some silver ingots. Once you've done that, you will unlock the ability to craft this sword. As far as stats are concerned, at level 4, it has a slash damage of 138, making it 25 points more damage than the black metal sword, which is a significant leap, and puts this sword into really, really good weapon territory. As far as block power goes, you have 10, knockback of 40, and durability of 350. So, you do improve that slash damage, and you don't sacrifice anything else. You'd think with silver the durability would be lower than black metal, but it's not. So it's just a really, really good weapon. So let's go test this bad boy out in combat. Alrighty, and since this is a super overpowered weapon, we're going to use it to kill the bone mass, the third boss in the game. And for that you need 10 withered bones, which as you can see we just dropped into the offertory skull. There we go. Big nasty bone mass. You're going to want to avoid its poisonous spouts. So basically that's going to be the big thing. A good thing to keep for this one is like an anti-poison. Also decent armor and and lots of hit points by eating. Many people will say, and I would agree, that the best way to take it out is actually ranged. Now we'll have to run around and build up our health a little bit, and then once we're able, we run back in. Don't want to fall in that water, though. Now we have to run around, heal ourselves. Have to kill some other swamp monsters in the meantime. But in any case, this is probably going to take me a bit yet because I have to do a lot of kiting to get away from these bad boys. So, as you can see, definitely a good weapon. Takes out a lot of the higher level monsters in the game pretty easily. Not the best weapon against the bone mass because, as I said, the best way to take out the bone mass is ranged because you don't want to get close enough to get poisoned. But, so the best sword in the game is the silver sword, then the black metal sword, then the iron sword, then the bronze sword. So, I hope you enjoyed this video and found it useful, but in any case, thanks for watching and have a nice day, and I'll see you next time. Thanks for watching another Dare to Game video. If you liked this video, please leave a like and a comment. If you haven't already, be sure to subscribe to the channel. If you like my content and would like to support this channel, consider becoming a member today for as little as $1.99 a month. It makes a huge difference. But in any case, thanks for watching and have a nice day. I'll see you next time.